Etepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Harun Nefer. This is Qesankh Keperu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about our secret whitewashed history. But before I go into that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. And if this is your first time to my channel, hit the notification bell to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. Also, if you'd like to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you. There's no obligation, and you can cancel at any time. If you support us, you'll get exclusive access to instructional videos and documents on how to breathe, proper breathing exercises, how to invoke spirits, how to communicate with the ancestors, how to put together a magical amulet, how to do a proper ritual. And also, I've included on Patreon a lot of my ebooks, and they're free. You can download them, start reading them, and really get into the whole Kemetic spiritual tradition. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So Haru Nefer, Grand Rising, Namaste. This probably is going to be one of the most important videos I have ever done because it tackles a serious subject that many of us are sweeping under the rug. You see, we are ancestors or descendants of people who have been enslaved and brainwashed. You see, one of the things they did when they enslaved us was they taught us Christianity, and they only taught us parts of the Bible that really endorsed slavery and to keep us pacified as slaves. And many times, often, they picked one of the slaves who were probably good orators to be ministers, and they taught them how to be good ministers and calm the people so there wouldn't be barn burnings or uprisings and things of that nature. But along the way, we forgot our great history. And in modern times today, we celebrate the whitewashed history that has been passed down to us by the slave masters. So every Sunday we run to church and we study and we praise this figure called Jesus. Now, many of these biblical characters have been depicted as white, especially in your mega churches like your Joel Osteens, and even in the black mega churches like T.D. Jakes, when in reality, these figures were black, dark blue black sometimes. But down the line, with people like Michelangelo and other noted artists, they started to change the complexion of these biblical characters. And the Vatican knows full well that the original prophets of the Bible were African black men and women. In fact, the Vatican has in its catacombs a depiction of Mary, the Madonna and Child, as a black woman and a black child. So when we trace all of this back, as noted historians have, like Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben, we can tell that our history has been stolen, rewritten. In fact, the Bible is based on astrotheology. The Bible is an occult book. And it's taken from different parts of other books, other Bibles, and assembled into this new Bible authorized by King James. And this was done in 325 AD by the Roman Emperor Constantine, who wanted to exert control over the population by creating a religion. And now we take this book that was assembled at the Conference of Nicaea from different parts, and other parts were taken out and discarded. And now we take this as the unadulterated word of God, and it's not. And as I said, it's a Bible based on the zodiac, because those biblical characters all represent different aspects of astrology. I know this is a hard pill to swallow, because our ancestors were into high science. Jesus walking on water is a metaphor. Jesus is Pisces, the fish. And we're in the age of Pisces going into Aquarius. We're moving through the zodiac. And the age of Pisces is coming to an end. This is what it means by we're in the last days. Not that Jesus is going to be resurrected again, because Jesus is the story of a Asar and a Set that was taken from the Kemetic spiritual religion that the ancient Kemetic people, the Egyptians, practiced, plagiarized, and then called Christianity. And then from that, we get the Catholicism, we get Catholicism, we get Islam, rewritten and rewritten and whitewashed, so that the true history is hidden. That we were the first Madonna and child. That we were the first Jesus Christ. That we were the first Moses. That we created monotheism. And some of the highest of the high preachers know this secret. But to reveal it would mean that they would lose support from their congregation, and their mega churches would go financially bankrupt. So they have to hide the fact that all of these characters were originally Black. And that in Europe, if you go to certain museums in Europe, you'll still see the depictions of these characters as Black. And over the course of history, their representation was changed to white because the world could not accept a Black Jesus. And the shame of it all is that we have Black people going to church on Sundays and celebrating and praying to these white characters and these plagiarized religion. And their psyche is so damaged, they cannot accept it. That what they are celebrating, what they are venerating, is a lie. I want to show you a video that really dives deep into this, because this secret is explosive. And this is something that is not talked about by mainstream clergy or the media, because it's unacceptable to see Black people in the light of prophets, saviors. So let's watch this video really quick, and you will gain a very deep understanding of the greatness of our history and our people and what we accomplished.
Two reasons. Number one, it depicts the various Christian icons as black. And number two, this is not found in Western Europe, but well in Eastern Europe and Russia. This means that black people were venerated as deities from Spain to France, Italy, Germany, and all the way to Russia. In some, all over Europe. There are at least 500 black Madonnas in Europe, not counting the ones hidden in the Vatican, 128 in France alone. And you need to remember that these icons survived multiple waves of iconoclasm. This means that in the past, they would have been ubiquitous throughout Europe, before the great artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo were commissioned to start painting the classic Europeanized face of Jesus that we know today. So then, as always, if we ask the critical questions, if the mainstream historical narrative is true, and that black people have never achieved anything of note in history, why then were they depicted and venerated all over Europe? Even more intriguing, what were black people doing in so many depictions, descriptions, sculptures, and plays in Europe at all? For those who have been listening, it is simply because they were present in such numbers and it yielded such influence that even the planned erasure and systematic destruction of the icon survived from Western Europe to Eastern Europe, from Germany to Italy. Russian icons by Father Vladimir Ivanov, recently rediscovered, we find the most interesting collection of Christian icons. It is of high interest for two reasons. Number one, it depicts the various Christian icons as black. And number two, this is not found in Western Europe, but well in Eastern Europe and Russia. This means that black people were venerated as deities from Spain to France, Italy, Germany, and all the way to Russia. In some, all over Europe. There are at least 500 black Madonnas in Europe, not counting the ones hidden in the Vatican.
I hope you saw that where the Pope was bowing before that black Madonna and child. This should be cause enough for every so-called black Christian to stand up and cry out, we want our true history. We want to worship our biblical figures as they were meant to be, black. We need to go back and find these ancient paintings to remind us that at one point in the world, we were venerated as gods and goddesses by both black people and white people in Europe. So this is just not in Africa. This is in Europe. These paintings have survived the time and still exist today. But why aren't we exposing this? Why aren't we talking about this? Why isn't the Christian church teaching this? When Christianity, a very wealthy religion, they have their universities. So when they're teaching Christianity in their universities, why aren't they teaching this? That white people in their racism could not accept the fact that these biblical figures were black, commissioned painters to paint them as white, and totally whitewashed our history. If you are really a man or woman of God, you could not accept a lie, practice it, and teach it to your congregation. You would have to expose this if you are really a man of God. But these so-called mega churches, Christian pastors and ministers perpetuate the lie in order to get paid and to keep their mega churches going, and to keep them the money flowing so they can buy more jets and more mansions. Because they know it would disrupt the world if they started to talk about this fact of the original characters being black. This is why all of this has been pushed onto the peripheral. So it's not discussed, not addressed. In fact, when you even ask your minister about it, they'll probably say it's not important. Well, color is not important. Well, yes, it is. Especially when you have young black children grow up and don't see themselves as godly figures. That causes trauma because they're forced to believe and venerate depictions of people who don't look like them. We have to change this. Now, I've given you and exposed to you the secret of what has been going on. The question now is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep silent and just carry on as business as usual? Or are you going to demand that your church, your minister, starts to teach the truth and stop perpetuating the lie? Thank you. If you get an opportunity, please donate to the channel. This is Qesankh Ma Keparu, son of Maat and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.